But I'm doing my best to kind of keep it from them so they have no idea what's going on.
All right. Soraya Burdine, thank you so much. I hope this comes to an end soon. Let's bring in Congressman John Rose. He's a Republican from Soraya's state of Tennessee. So, Congressman, what's your reaction to what she said about the politics of the shutdown? Her basic take is not to assign partisan blame. It's just you and your colleagues are paid to solve these problems and make sure that they're not, that people like her kids are not pawns in this fight.
Absolutely, Jake. Thanks for having me on. 29 days, Republicans in the Senate have kept the government shut down, and it's really deplorable to see them using people like Mrs. Burdine as pawns, if you will, or leverage, as the Democrats refer to it, to try to get what they want. And, we know that Republicans, with the help of one Democrat in the House, passed a bill to keep the government open 40 days ago. And unfortunately, Chuck Schumer decided that a shutdown made sense for Democrats, and he's played this game using the American people as fodder to accomplish what he wants to accomplish politically, and it's really shameful.
Well, let me ask you, there is a $6 billion contingency fund at the Department of Agriculture that until September 30th, the Trump administration said they could use to help keep SNAP going even during a government shutdown. But now the Trump administration has said, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Those funds aren't for that. The top Senate appropriator, Republican Susan Collins, says her team's analysis is that the Department of Agriculture can use that fund. Shouldn't you support using that contingency fund to pay for SNAP so kids like the Sorayas that we just heard from don't go hungry?
Well, that certainly seems tempting, but the fund, $5.6 billion, is not nearly enough to cover the cost in the short run. And secondly, that fund is there for emergencies, and we have a hurricane bearing down on us now. And so if we use those funds here, then they won't be able to be used elsewhere. And we see Democrats make these trade-offs all the time where they pick winners and losers with funds like this. And so I think we have to be careful if we take something that's there for an emergency and use it when the answer is simple. The Senate is in Washington. 5 or 6 senators could join all of the Republicans and get this done and reopen the government and spare people like Ms. Burdine and her family, her 5-year-old and her 6-year-old, from the suffering that the Democrats are using. The Schumer shutdown should end. I think they miscalculated. They need to just take stock of that. We've seen this mistake over and over in the past, and it just doesn't work to use people as leverage in these situations.
I get that $6 billion in contingency funding is a short-term solution, only 2 or 3 weeks worth of SNAP funds, but that means a lot to those kids. And if Senator Susan Collins says they can use it, she's the head appropriator on this matter, she says they can use it for this, why not just do it? We're talking about an emergency situation here of kids and seniors and disabled people and veterans being able to eat.
Well, my understanding is Senator Collins may be right, but my understanding is that the administration made the assessment that those funds could not be used for this purpose. And more importantly, that they're there to make way or to provide for emergencies. And so I think, again, we need to just get the Senate to get us back in business. And, that's easy for 5 or 6 Democrats. And then we can negotiate on these bigger questions that they want to talk about. But as long as they keep the government shut down, they're holding all of America hostage for their progressive, radical, left-wing agenda. And so, this needs to end, and they need to quit hurting everyday working Americans like Ms. Burdine. And there are 76,000 recipients of SNAP benefits in my district and over 700,000 in Tennessee. And of course, millions across the country who are going to be negatively impacted on top of the Transportation Safety Administration workers, the Customs and Border Protection, our troops, et cetera. that are being impacted by this or shortly will be impacted in a negative way. And so the Senate keeps voting. They voted 13 times to impose this pain that Democrats have, and it's enough. They need to come to the table and bring this to an end.
Republican Congressman John Rose from Tennessee, thanks so much, sir. Appreciate it. The ceasefire is allegedly back in place after Israel launched a new wave of strikes against Hamas, accusing Hamas of breaching the truce. Does this mean the efforts to find the rest of the deceased hostages have also resumed? I'll ask the father of American Itai Hen next. Plus, Hurricane Melissa still a threat impacting the Bahamas tonight after lashing Jamaica and Cuba. The latest on the rescue and recovery efforts in some of the hardest hit areas. Coming up.